guys, welcome today to a new video. I hope that you guys have a lovely week and are enjoying your day today. So guys, in today's video, I'm going to get right on it. I'm sitting here with just a feeling of disappointment, of sadness, and just a little bit, I don't know how to tell you guys, but I feel almost I can't believe that this happened. And also very, very down to earth. That is the combination, the most maybe craziest combination that I'm explaining to you guys, but that is exactly how I feel at this moment. So let's hop into this story because it is one that I never would have guessed would happen, and it did. And I can't believe this. So about a week ago, I went in to Cartier to clean my jewelry pieces. Now, I have had pieces that were long due for this clean. I always kind of just do them at home and take care of them. But I never went into the Cartier store to let them be cleaned by the store. So the Cartier store, they do have a cleaning service, and you can drop by whenever the jewelry maker is available, because that's the only person that does this process. So you can go, I think, during the week and sometimes on Saturday, but most of the time the jewelry makers aren't available on Saturday. So if you go during the week here in the Netherlands, you can let your jewelries be cleaned by Cartier, or even any other store regarding the pieces that come from a store. You can go to Van Cleef & Arpels and let them be professionally cleaned by them. And also, I think with Louis Vuitton, with Chanel, all those things, you can get them cleaned by the brand itself. Now, the type of cleaning that they do, they have two different services. So the one is kind of I think they just polish them and do a little bit of an ultrasound cleaning, and then you have a special service where you kind of leave them, and then they will get a little bit polished in the sense that they remove a little bit of the gold, so your jewelry pieces come back as new. Okay, so the type of jewelry cleanse that I wanted was just a regular kind of polish, ultrasound cleaning. I feel when you do it in a boutique, it just comes out a little bit better. And I have been doing it a little bit more with my Van Cleef & Arpels pieces whenever I'm there. I try to let them be clean, especially because I have the Perlée collection, which is super hard to clean yourself. So I just love it when I just leave them. I went in and I let the jewelry pieces be cleaned. There were a lot, also the jewelry pieces of my daughter and things like that. We just give the whole bunch, and then they clean it. So this was, I would say, my Juste Clou, my Clash bracelet, my Panthere bracelet. I also had my rings and the pieces of my daughter. So all of them went into the cleaning, and when they came back, they looked perfect. They were clean. I was very, very happy. And so I just left the boutique just feeling happy because all of my jewelry pieces were clean. Now, the day that I got them, right away when I was trying to take them off, or when I took them off at night, I noticed for the first time that I had black kind of marks on my wrist, which I never, ever, ever had with any jewelry pieces of mine. Never. Not my Van Cleef, not my Cartier pieces. They never ever shed any black. So that was kind of the first thing that I noticed. And I was this is new. But maybe it's because of the cleaning process. Maybe there was still some residue of the cleaning paste. Could be anything. Okay, that's okay. So I took them off, and the only bracelet that I always keep on is my love bracelet. So this was on Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, I was still noticing that I had black residue on my wrist. So I was a little bit curious about that, and I started researching that. I was like, you know, that's strange. Why would this happen? And the first thing that I got, of course, is Cartier uses 18 karat gold, which means that 75% is gold, but the other 25% might be other metals. And sometimes when you clean it, they react, they oxidize, and they give a certain reaction. So I was like, okay, that might be it, but it should stop right at a certain point, because this is not the thing that I want for my bracelet stack. So I was already thinking, you know, I'm going to drop by later the week to go back at the store and see what they can do, because it was just a little bit off. It just didn't sit right with me. So if any of you guys had this experience with your jewelry pieces oxidizing, when you're wearing them or after cleaning, let me know in the comment box down below. I really would love your opinion or your experiences with this. So that was it. So it was something that I was planning to do during the week, but you know, life happened, and Monday passed, and then Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday night, I was about to take off my Panthere bracelet, and it's just like when I was trying to take off the other bracelet that were like my clash that was on the side of the Panthere bracelet, the Panthere bracelet just kind of like sprung. It just cracked. And I just couldn't believe my eyes. Like literally I was staring, I think, for a whole full minute to let sink in what just happened. And I just couldn't grasp it. And I feel like still like my mind is just not there yet. I just feel so let down. But that is what happened. It's just, there was no force, nothing happening. It's just cracked on its own. It just sprung on its own. And it is, to me, crazy that this could happen. So the moment that this happened, like after I just kind of like stared at it, like what the hell, I started taking pictures and, you know, documenting what was going on. I documented the black marks on my wrist. I documented that there were a lot of black marks on the bracelet itself. Like the whole top of the head was dark. And it was just crazy. And also on the side where it kind of like sprung, it almost seemed like the bracelet was just a little less gold. It was like turning a little bit more pinkish, which it never was. So I was very disappointed and also very sad at the same time, because this is not something that you expect when you pay €8,500. I was shook to the core, you can say. And yes, it's something material, but it is something that I bought with the intention of making it a heirloom. So for me, all of these pieces that I'm buying, they're not like for trending and things like that. I buy them because I find them beautiful. I buy them with a thought that I can pass them on. And so for this bracelet to break after 2 years, because I bought this bracelet in April 2023, and it is now September 25. So this is like after 2 years. I was just like heartbroken. So the first thing I did, as I said, like I documented everything, and I sent my essay. I think it was about 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. I don't remember. I told her what I experienced, and I knew that this was like a direct link with the cleaning process. So there is nothing else. I haven't used my bracelet in any other way than regular. I haven't done anything different. So I knew there was a direct link with the cleaning process. So I told her, and also directly I emailed the client service from Cartier and seeing like everything, like putting everything down as it happened. So these are like the two steps that I took. I messaged my SA and I sent like a direct email to the boutique. And the reason that I sent the email is because as a lawyer, I know that you have to document things and just make sure that your story is straight. When you go into the boutique, people write your story, people can put things in your file. I didn't want that. I wanted my story to be clear and just the way it happened before it passes any other person. So that's why I messaged my SA and then I put it down in writing. The next morning, I got a message from my SA and she was like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Come in and we can look at it. And at the same time, I was looking at the other jewelry pieces that I went in for cleaning, and I've noticed that my juste inclus was also giving like some of the black marks, and also my clash. And that got me thinking, like, why were only these bracelets giving like these marks as to where my rings and also my love bracelet wasn't giving this anymore. I was like, what's going on? Is it possible that some of the things were affected or some of the things were cleansed differently, or, you know, it just, I started just like thinking. Then it hit me that I don't take off my love bracelet, and my rings probably got wet after I got them back from the cleaning service. So I think what happened is they polished it or they did something with chemicals during the cleaning service, which maybe got the bracelets or the jewelry pieces a little bit into oxidation, which may have, and I'm saying this like may have, because I wasn't there, I'm not sure what they did, but this is a theory that I have. So I think that they cleaned it with something and that gave a reaction and that made my gold just weaker. That is something that I've just read online that could have happened. The reason why I think this might be quite accurate is because all the other jewelry pieces that got wet after they've been cleaned didn't give like the black residue. The only ones that kept giving the black residue were the ones that I didn't put on the water, so they were like on my wrist and then were removed, etc. So this is also the thing that I put online in the email that I sent to the SA or to the boutique, and this is also the story that I shared with my SA when I got there. However, my SA told me that they're not using any chemicals when they clean jewelries. This was the first thing that put me off, because if you're not using any chemicals, then there wouldn't be any oxidation. Let's be clear on that. Like, if you haven't put anything, if you have just cleansed my jewelry pieces with only water, then I've never ever should have gotten like any black residue on my jewelry pieces. So this was the first thing that set me off and made me like even sadder. I was like, why? What I told her, I was like, you must have cleansed it with something, because you can't get like oxidation from water. Then I should have like wore or have it. Like the 2 years that I've been wearing my pieces, I should have had this black residue and I don't have it. So then she kind of like started talking about maybe, you know, I sprayed something or perfume or lotions. You guys know the whole story. I don't use that. I make sure that my jewelry pieces are never sprayed on, and I hate actually lotion on my hands, so I only put it on my fingernails. So I don't have like those types of trouble with any of my jewelry pieces. And as I said, I've never, ever, ever experienced having black residue on my wrist or on my rings or on my necklace. Never, ever. So I said straight up to her, I don't want to go into that because that's not the case with me. I've never, ever used that. So I don't want that. And this is also the reason why I put my story online instead of just only going to the boutique. So I said, this is not for me, never had experience, so why would this suddenly started happening to me after the cleaning service? So then she told me, you know, this range, she never saw this before with the Panthere bracelet, and she would send it away to be examined by the boutique, and it would take like a couple of weeks to get like a full examination report. And then they would kind of like determine what the next steps would be. And I was like, yeah, but I just gave you guys the jewelry pieces to be cleansed like a couple of days ago. And so this happens after the cleaning process. So you guys know that there is like almost like 100% direct link to it. Why am I the one being the one who should wait for this service? And so she went upstairs with all my jewelry pieces. And the thing that I didn't like about that is that she proceeded to clean them all over again, which kind of like removed all of the evidence that I had. Luckily, I did make photos of all the jewelry pieces before I brought them in because I had like a gut feeling that they would try to remove the traces of everything that I said. So I actually documented everything that was on all the jewelry pieces. And then she came back and I told her I want all my jewelry pieces examined that I didn't wash. So that means the just include and the clash. And also that I didn't want like a repair on my Panthere because the way the Panthere was broken, it would always have like a weak spot. And that is just something that I just don't want in my jewelry piece. As simple as that. So then she proceeded to tell me that the Panthere was definitely broken and it was broken in a place that it couldn't be repaired. So if something would happen, it would be that I would get like a new one. So this old one would be melted and then they would make like a new one. But then what happens to the cost of that, right? That is where the whole examination process happens, like who is going to pay for what. So it's just got me really, really, really frustrated and also anger, sad, and disappointed. Like all of these emotions are running through me because I'm just like, this is not the service that I'm paying for. I'm paying for a service that I expect when something happens, especially if it's so directly linked to a process that's been done by them. And it makes me as a consumer have to wait 6 months because that's how long it's going to take. First, we have like the 2 to 3 weeks of examinations of the bracelet. And then if I have to wait for a new one, I have to wait 6 months for a new one. I'm thinking this is crazy. I put my money here and I have to wait this long after you've made a mistake. And then she proceeded to tell me that the reason why I may have experienced the black residue on my wrist was because they used a gold cleaning paste. So I told her if it was a gold cleaning paste, means that like after 1 or 2 days, I mean, how much gold cleaning paste can keep coming off from gold, right? It's almost like I'm thinking, are you making fun of me right now? Are you making fun of my intelligence? Are you just thinking I just cannot say it. So this is something that got me really, really angry. And she just kept saying, you know, it's the gold paste and it was also on the other jewelry pieces. That's why we cleansed them all over again and you can take them home. I was like, no, I'm not going to take them home. I want them all examined because I paid a lot of money and I'm sitting there with my clash, my juste inclus, and also my Panthere. Now the Panthere only costs $8.5. The clash also costs about $8.5. And then we have the just include, which I think cost about 4. So I'm sitting here with about 20,000 worth in jewelry pieces, and you're just telling me as if it's nothing, like just take them home and it would be like, okay, here is when the full service comes. And that's also what I told her. I told her I didn't expect this from a jewelry house like Cartier. I'm just not paying for the jewelry pieces because we all know like it's much less than we're paying for if we're just looking at the gold. But I'm paying for the name, I'm paying for the service, and I'm paying for everything else like in between, all the luxury. And at this moment, I'm just not feeling like I'm being treated as a luxury client. It's just not a luxurious experience. And it's just so disappointed. Now, after this has happened, I left all the jewelry pieces. She said, okay, we're going to examine it, but I don't think anything will come out of it. I went home and I wrote a second email to the online boutique or the online clientele service, whatever you call it. And I wrote that I was very disappointed in the service because this is not something that I would expect. And that I expected them to actually give me a full report from a second party. So I don't want them to be inspected by Cartier Boutique because of course maybe they're going to say the jewelry pieces are amazing, nothing up to them. And then I could wear them like a year or two and then me not knowing that they have been weakened by this process and finding the direct link 2 to 3 years or maybe a year after this happened, it's going to be really hard to prove that it is the fault of this process. So I really wanted them to be examined and just know for sure that it hasn't been like this whole process and that they're in good shape. And if they aren't, I want new replacement for them because I haven't paid this much money to get my gold weakened by them and not being able to have my investment. This is crazy. So I was really disappointed. So that's one thing that I put in the email. And then the other thing that I put in the email is that they need to do something about the service because this is something that's their fault. It's gonna like directly linked to them. And so they need to come up with another solution than just letting me wait for 6 months. This is just not the luxury experience. So sum up of this whole experience, I'm very disappointed. I'm mad, I'm sad, I'm all these emotions at the same time. And I feel like I'm just let down by another big brand. And for me at this moment, I feel like I had enough. Now, this is not the only thing that happened that day. I also brought in my love studs, which have like a screwing thing on the back. And as I brought that love stud in, I told my SA that the back is letting go a bit and that it is just not holding on tight. And she told me, you know, I'm going to look at it. I think it looks fine, but let's clean it. And maybe when you clean it, it would kind of like fit tighter and it would be okay. So I said, perfect. I understand where you're coming from. Maybe it is going to work or not. And then that same night, I put in the love stud and the back of the love stud lets go. And so the next day, I was already in the Cartier store and I told her, listen up, I got my love stud clean and this has happened. And she was like, well, you're wearing it here and this is a love stud that you need to wear kind of like in another piercing. I was like, are you freakishly kidding me? You got to be kidding me. A love stud is just meant for any other placement, but if you're telling me because it's a screw you can't wear it like on your ear or you just can't leave it on, you're making something that's not even worth the money. Like then you have to put a warning on the side or you have to specify things on the website and saying, well, this is meant as this and you can't use it as this. But as you're not specifying anything, you're letting consumer buy things, and then later on, you're kind of like covering your tracks, just a second letdown. So for me, the biggest letdown was my Panthere bracelet breaking like this. And the second letdown was the way that they are gaslighting you when something truly happens. I mean, you guys are earning millions. And then when it comes to the quality, when it comes to the service, especially the after service, you're just not home, you're not giving it. It's just mind-blowing to me, because that is the reason that I go to these types of brands, because I trusted them to pick this up as professionals, to react adequate to a problem like this, to give a full service. This is not where I'm putting down my money. So for me, this is not only a letdown in the brand itself. Of course, I need to see how this one works out. If they are able to solve this in a highly qualified manner, it would help me to keep trusting them. If they don't, it's going to be a breakup with the brand. And this is something that I've just internally decided for myself. This is no longer how I want to proceed for myself. I want things that are high quality, good service, and that really, truly makes me happy. And so, till this point, I thought Cartier was adding up to that. But at this moment, it's a huge letdown. So guys, this was like a pretty big ramble. I can't believe that this happened. Let me know in the comment box down below. What do you guys think of this experience? Should I add anything more to this experience? Also, like, have you guys experienced like the black residue on any jewelry pieces? And I've cleaned mine before, never happened to mine. But I'm just really, really curious, especially if I know that so many of you guys have so many jewelry pieces or are very good into knowing chemical things and things like that. Let me know in the comment box down below. I would really, really appreciate it. It will really also help me out in this process. So again, I'm going to keep you guys updated. I'm so sad that this is where I'm standing right now, but hey, it is what it is. So we're going to see it through, and I hope that I will get soonish a reaction from Cartier. But as it seems, it is the vacation period. Maybe it's going to take longer than expected, but keeping my fingers crossed that everything will work out. At this moment, I'm just working through my emotions to process this letdown in this big brand. So you guys, thank you so much. If you stick here till the end, thank you so much for sticking out this ramble with me. If you like this type of content, hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell so you get notified whenever I post a new video. I love you guys so, so much, and I wish you a beautiful week ahead, and I see you in my next video. Bye!